Hello, everybody. Namaskar. I am Tanya, and I'm joining you live from Bangalore, India. Uh, if you remember, this is the second session of the Cradle webinar series for the year 2024. And our last session that we did last month got us 4.4 million views on Facebook. Obviously, it's the grace of our Guru and the Supreme Father and your love. Thank you for all your love and support so far. If you remember, in our last session, we took a very important topic about the impact of a guru, a spiritual master in our lives. We did reiterate on the subject that, for example, if we want to get better in any area, or we want to enhance our capabilities in a particular field, we do need a teacher, a guide, or a coach. Similarly, like for example, if we want to become good in swimming, we go for a swimming coach. If we want to better our skills at maths, we go to a maths tutor. Similarly, for our life and growth, to help us tread this journey of life in the most meaningful way, we do need the guidance of a guru or a spiritual master. Well, now that we understand the need of a guru or a spiritual master in our lives, the question arises, well, how do I find the right guru? How do I choose my guru? When do I understand that it's right time for me to get aligned to a spiritual master? Well, I myself have always got such questions from my friend circle. And that's why we thought as a team that let's come up with a topic on the same and discuss it out in this forum today. And that's why the topic of this conversation is Guru Quest. Are we chosen or are we the choosers? So, repeating the topic for this discussion today, Guru Quest, are we chosen or are we the choosers? And to discuss the topic with me today, I do have a very, very special guest. Let me please have him on our screen. Well, on your screen, you are seeing currently Mr. Manoj Patra, who is joining us live from California, United States. And those who have been following our Cradle page and our session so far know that he was our first speaker, our first guest when we started this Cradle Fireside series way back in 2020 when COVID was rampant across the globe. Let me again introduce him to you. Welcome, first of all, Mr. Manoj. Again, it's a pleasure again having you in our conversation today. Well, Mr. Manoj Prat has been associated with satsang for over 40 years now. As I told you, he is currently based in the United States, California. He has a very impressive career journey so far. Has been an engineering manager at Google and a principal architect at the Microsoft R&D division. Interestingly, holds several patents to his name in the field of virtual machine and cloud computing. Currently, he is the vice president of engineering at a very coveted organization, which is working on delivering innovative payment solutions. This is about Mr. Manoj Patra, whom you are seeing on screen right beside me. And I myself, Mr. Patra, I'm looking forward to have a very engaging conversation with you today.
So thank you, Tanya, for that introduction. Yeah, even I look forward to a good. Thank you for welcome for being in this board again. Yeah.
Sure, thank you. Our pleasure. Well, let me start off the conversation today with my first question to you. What is the impact of your guru in your life, or rather, has it helped you? So, being associated or aligned to a spiritual master helped you in your journey so far?
Okay. Um, Thank you, Tanya, for that question. Like once again, um, I would like to express first of all my thanks for inviting me to this platform. I noticed that over the last few years, the platform has become really bigger with so many viewers and all that. Now, coming to the question, the very fact that I am I have the opportunity to discuss with you on this platform, I believe is a blessing from my guru. Now, now to take the question more seriously, right from my childhood, I had a scientific bent of mind, and I loved science among all subjects in the school. Maths and science were my pet, right? And we were also satsangis. I was a small child when my parents had taken the initiation. Now, I would read, I knew about some of the principles we are following, and would read about brief literature of Thakur that was read as a part of our daily routine. Some of the words in that holy book, Satyanusaran, the only book Thakur wrote by his own hands, were very profound and deep. And in school, we had in our curriculum various other subjects. We had literature, we had history, literature in multiple languages. And as part of literature, there are writings of various other authors, poets, and all that. Some of them are deep. But I found that at that young age of 12, 13, and all, just about when my own initiation was happening, found that while all of the writers were trying to convey messages and they were good because they were all selected and filtered, but there was a lack of cohesion in some of these writings, in the sense that if you try to follow the bhakti marg or the marg based purely on faith, somewhere they do not align well with the scientific principles. And that when I read Thakur's books, I said, well, all his explanations are on a firm foundation of science. They are scientific, they are logical, they are rational, and you don't have to give up that if you have to follow this path of spiritualism. In fact, he would say science and spiritualism are two sides of the same coin. The intent is the same. That really gelled very well with me. And then as I grew up, I read more of Thakur's literature. I read more literature from others, but I always found a consistency, a cohesion in Thakur's philosophy or ideology. So that's why, like, I really, but so I have a lot of respect for many other learned writers, orators, and so on. In fact, and moreover, by following C.C. Thakur, the feeling of empathy starts growing automatically within. You are able to easily see others from their perspective, and even the real import of what others are trying to say, that is clearer. So, and Thakur, being the latest advent that I understand, he has never negated any of the past prophets' teachings. In fact, he has fulfilled that, set the relevance of that on the context and the time they were given, and how, because of the natural evolution that has happened, these have to be interpreted in the modern context. And so that really, like, has gelled with me. So I personally feel that apart from that, like, everything that I've achieved in my life, whether it is in my professional career, whether it is my um, family achievements, my personal achievements, everything is because of his blessings and guidance. I've been one of the fortunate ones to be under direct guidance of Acharya Dev. Like after Shishi Thakur's left his bodily form, the Pradhan Acharya Dev runs the Satsang organization, and I am associated with him. So I have the fortune of being in direct connection and seek his advice and guidance for most important decisions of my life, including like my marriage, my career, important points. Everybody everybody does come across many points of dilemma in life. Like when you have to take a very crucial decision, the two paths both appear to be equally good. You can use your intuition, you can use your intelligence, but if you have a guide who can guide you, then there is a lot more assurance because the guide has a clearer vision, can look farther into the future that we ourselves cannot. And that said, we still have to do our duty. Whatever path we are working on, we have to exercise our judgment, be cognizant of various factors that are positive versus negative, use our analysis. We have to do our work. But having a
Sure.
backing behind you gives you a lot of assurance. It makes you intrepid, it makes you courageous, it makes you overcome your fear, and so on. You can enjoy life and keep moving. So that's what I have gained to accept. So I can tell you like some of the anecdotes here in the US. When I was in India, and we were young then, right? In India, You get into a company, you get into a job, you can only think of rising. If you're not happy, you choose voluntarily to leave. Now in the US, of course, age could be one factor, but here in the US, hiring and firing is a culture. It is slowly growing in other communities and countries also we see, but this was not a trait in European or Oriental countries earlier, right? Even now, they are far subdued in this. US. So even in a big company here, and you are doing very good, phenomenally well, your team is doing good, and then suddenly the company decides that we are going to close this unit, and
Understood.
everybody in the unit is asked to leave. So for these sort of hiring happens here in big companies. I have seen people who are very smart, very intelligent, but they suddenly shudder. They get bewildered. What has happened? They feel lost, rudderless, and that incident happened with me, but I never had that sense of panic in me because I knew if this is happening, something better is in store for me. Because it's Thakur's, it's a
Absolutely.
blessing in disguise, and that is how I take it. So having
Absolutely.
reliance on a guru makes a person fearless.
Oh, now very, very profound statement that having reliance on a guru makes a person fearless. And so, summarizing your response. So first you said that, your affinity or love towards Thakur grew when you read about, his teachings, literature, and you found that, okay, everything has a scientific or a logical base, right? You yourself are a person of science, and somehow that kind of attached you more. Then you told about how you developed empathy, right? And you were able to understand the other perspectives as well, which helped you in your journey. And then you also credited all your achievements on the personal career front to the guidance and grace of Shri Thakur, and obviously the current mentor, Shri Acharya Dev. Let me now go to the next question, which is very, very important, and I think uh, straight away, comes to the topic of our conversation. See,
Mhm.
many of our people, right, around us would definitely would have asked you also at some point of time, right, this question that there are so many religious, spiritual organizations across the globe,
Mhm.
and accordingly, so many spiritual masters, right? So many
Mhm.
learned men. How do we really cho- choose who is the right guru for us?
Right.
So, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, good. I mean, great question. First, let me take that part of presence of so many organizations, right? Now, my personal belief and understanding is this: see, it is good that we have so many organizations throughout the world. Now, if you look deeply, there are societies, there are laws, and there is a legal book by which citizens of a society are supposed to live by. They follow that. But we also see most legal books are limited. They do not go beyond a point. Like if you are traveling in a public transport and someone next to you suddenly falls down or gets wounded, now no law book will say that you must get up and help. They don't say that you must. If you don't choose to, they cannot tell you that it was a violation of any law. But the religious books teach, inspire, urge people that you offer a help based on your capability there. It is just a duty you do. Now, I have read many books of law also. I mean, if you cause a bodily harm to somebody, it is punitive actions can be taken. It is illegal. It can be penalized. But if you're not offering a help somebody, if you're noticing you look the other way, law will say nothing. It will say nothing to you. And so now, so the spiritual organizations that evoke this higher humanness in a human being are very very important. Because there are so many societies, world is so big, there are cultural practices that people follow within a small community in an area, and so the spiritual practices have to gel very well with the cultural practices too. Otherwise there's going to be a big discordance, right? So too many organizations makes a logical sense. There will be because the local customs are different, local traditions are different, and whatever spiritual practice people follow, that has to adhere to, support, and endorse those traditional practices. Now that said, some religions become very big. They spread by various means, and when they spread too big, they again like sort of divide because the practices customs are all be different. Now, by accepting Sri Thakur, the big thing that I felt, I mentioned this project, I see the oneness in the teachings of all the prophets who people attribute to having started a religion or the other. Now, people who follow Christianity would say Jesus Christ founded Christianity. Now, in my opinion, Jesus Christ did not want to start anything called as Christianity. He realized certain laws by following which people could largely live happily, could make their life more meaningful. And the problems that were very apparent and present during that time in area where he was, he addressed one problem by the other by elevating people's life. And his philosophy around him started growing. After his departure, people started calling it as Christianity. But the same happened with Islam. Prophet Muhammad, he lived his life and he inspired people to overcome their uncivic ways of life, to become more united in spirit, and that led to Islam. Every past prophet who has come, they have all given this message of love, of universal brotherhood, in and depending on the context that they arrived at, they advented in, they gave teachings based on that. People followed with time, like human beings interpret their words their own way, where things evolve in different ways. There are different interpretations that happen and bring about some differences. Now, love for any prophet should automatically imbue love for all the past prophets. Otherwise, that affinity, that love for one prophet itself is weak somewhere. That is how I see it. And after accepting Sisi Thakur, I say, oh, if you pray to Lord Ram and say Lord Ram and Lord Krishna, and then see differences between Lord Ram and Lord Krishna, and say, no, one is better than the other, that means somewhere my own thinking is incorrect. Somewhere my lack of my judgment has is lacking. There is no difference between them. They're all the anointed one. They came from the same point, and they try to give the same message. The divine aspect of their teachings has never changed since time immemorial. So when it comes to choosing this word called choice, like yes, human beings have a free will. They can they can say that they choose. Now it's like saying if I like hiking and I want to go to some mountain peaks to see the beauty of the world from a high point. Well, I look for a mountain. Now there can never be a mountain which stands on a flat plane like a pole and is 8,000 meters high. To become an 8,000 meters high peak, it has to be part of a mountainous range. And there would be several peaks there. Some 8,000, some 7,800, some 7,900, or 7,500. All that. There will be several peaks and they would be spread around. I have to learn the art of hiking. I have to practice. I have to know how to live and breathe under a rarefied atmosphere with lack of oxygen in very low temperature. And it's an ordeal. Even conquering a mountain of height 7,500 will give me a sense of accomplishment that may not be the highest mountain. By climbing a few smaller ones, I prepare myself to go to the highest one. Now, each mountain peak in that range, it will have its own glorious view. If you're able to conquer that or reach that peak, you can see that. So similarly, for the mankind, which is 8 billion population spread over 7 continents or 6+ continents, so we see that everybody gets an opportunity to look around one and then find some people who have gained something, who have realized something. They are like realized people who have learned art of living to some extent. They know what how to carry about in their life, how to be meaningful to themselves and to people associated with them around them. They are. These people are definitely ahead, more evolved, more elevated, and it is good for a human being to associate with such a master and then try to learn from them. But even though there can be so many people at different stages, when the advent arrives willfully, he is one and unique. And that happens from time to time. We saw Lord Ram came several thousand years ago, Lord Krishna came, then Buddha, Jesus, Rasul, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ram Krishna. They're all like advents and prophets who have advented willfully when humankind needed them the most. And then at the end, during our own time and all, Sri Thakur came, and in Sanskrit we call him as an avatari purus as opposed to many avatars. Avatar is now an English word too. Okay, so they willfully advent to guide people with their life. The big difference that we see in these prophets and other some other people like who speak is people might acquire knowledge from various sources and they speak, but one is there could be lack of coherence that it may not sound as an absolute, and other is differences observed in what they speak or preach versus what they practice. But when the prophets come, they speak from what they follow themselves in life. Their preaching comes next, their practice precedes that in general, and that is what happened in Sisi Thakur's life. Everything that he spoke, word to word, letter to letter, was what he practiced, he realized, he sensed in this human life form, and then he messaged. So,
Absolutely.
if we be on the lookout, we will find one realized master will lead automatically us to the prophet of the age. The prophet of the age. Like you mentioned about in the beginning speech, like we learn swimming, we go to swimming instructor, we have to learn to maths, we go to maths tutor. Now, if your maths tutor knows or the swimming instructor knows that the swimming instructor can teach you how to make 2 or 3 laps in this swimming pool, but cannot teach you how to uh, swim in a river with current or in an ocean which appears to be endless. So he or she would be very happy if you excel in swimming under the tutelage and then go to the next swimming instructor who could take you to the next level, maybe a state level or a country level sport, or maybe to Olympics level eventually. They would be very happy.
Absolutely.
Like a tutor is not unhappy when the student exceeds and then is given to the next master. A realized master is like that, is very happy when he or she can lead you to the prophet of the age. And it is if you have to
Absolutely.
choose a guru, you have to see whether the guru had a guru in his life or not, or has a guru or life, and how
Absolutely.
he or she performed towards that guru. If the guru does not show strong adherence and that uh, being being a shishya or a student himself to the guru, then somewhere the guru will not be able to follow you further either. Yeah. So these are some of the
Absolutely.
factors that we have to keep in
Yeah,
mind.
I
Yeah.
think Shishi Thakur himself said, right, that the last point which you mentioned,
Yeah.
that uh, when choosing a guru, we always have to be very careful to see how is the attachment or devotion of that guru to his
Towards
own
his
guru,
guru. Yeah.
and that is
Exactly.
yeah, and that is one of the criteria which we should always keep in mind. Also,
Yeah.
another thing which we should be careful about when choosing a master. One is that many times we see spiritual men, I mean, so called spiritual men will say, okay, I will give you this, I will give you that. And we are also attracted because we are also many times looking out for material gains. I want a house, I want an impressive career, I want a lot of money, and so forth, material desires, right? And when any person is like giving you tathas to that, you will get all this, we really need to be a little cautious and careful whether he's the right person for us, right? And that is where, if you and you mentioned about the book Satyanusaran, Mr. Patra, and we keep on speaking about it in all our sessions. In fact, I am sitting with one copy of the holy book Satyanusaran with me, and right at the start of the book, Shishi Thakur says, and I want to quote him, saying that, "Oh, you who devotees be, with hope for name and riches, don't make me your lord and master. Beware, if mastery within awakens not, master's center none you have, and deceiving you shall be deceived." So he's clearly saying that if you have come to me for getting some material benefit,
Riches
then
and
I am not
honors.
your master, I am not your center. So a true master is one who is able to help us develop our mental faculties, right? And helps us towards life and growth. And many times, right, when choosing a coach, also saying that both of us come from the corporate, Mr. Patra, right? Whenever we say associate a mentor to a person or a coach to a person, we tell him, so don't tell the person how to do it. Okay, don't solve the problems for that person, rather help him solve the problem, him or her solve that problem. So a true master is one who will not say tathastu, your problem is gone from today. Rather, he or she will help you solve your problems yourself. Okay, and that is, I think, is also one key differentiator. Again, there are
Yes.
many sort of spiritual men, so-called spiritual men, learned men, who will always be in the quest of showing magic and miracles and siddhis. Okay, I think we also should be very careful and cautious there, right? And I would give you some reference to certain books, right? Please, audience can read about it, like Living with the Himalayan Masters by Swami Rama, then A Journey Home by Radhanath Swami, then Autobiography of Yogi by Yogananda. In all these
Yes.
books, all the spiritual masters have told that beware. There are many people you will find in the journey, right, who will be able to show a lot of magic and miracles. But this is not the sign of a true master. This can be achieved by some sadhana here and there. But these are not the person who will be able to take you towards God realization or helping you realize your true potential as a human being. So, one, understanding the devotion or attachment of the masters towards his master. Second, uh, material wealth and fulfilling those promises related to worldly desires. And third, staying away from magic and miracles, rather focusing on work and action. And then another which very important thing which is said, that people should be practicing what the person is preaching, right? So somebody where the coherence is there between what the person says and what he actually does in his life. Okay, and all that we could find in our spiritual master, Sri Sri
Yeah, I totally
Thakur.
agree with you. Like, yeah. So this aspect of your question, like how to
Yeah.
choose one versus how to avoid others. Yes, I mean I thought it was obvious, but if somebody is promising you names and riches quickly, like the shortcuts to gain fame, to gain wealth, and all that, those are pedagogues. Like they are, yeah, they're not really. So such people, like
Better
there
to
are many
better
such
better to
there are many such quacks in the society. We have to know, we have to at least have a basic understanding to keep ourselves, safeguard ourselves from such
but
quacks.
people get
Yeah,
attracted, and that's why I'm mentioning this.
yes, and then miracle mongering. Yes, if we try to monger for miracles happening, we are not pursuing our ultimate goal properly. So there's
Goal.
nothing that happens in this nature which is truly a miracle. Everything has a reason behind. And those who want to make the life fulfill, they know the path is not going to be easy. I have to prepare myself to walk long. It's a long journey. It's like bigger than a marathon. I have to remain steadfast. I have to walk. There will be thorns, there will be puddles, there will be ups and downs. I have to overcome them, become efficient and keep moving. Suddenly something a miracle will happen. If
Absolutely.
anybody is promising miracles,
And if you remember,
yeah.
and if you remember, there is a very beautiful story, right, of Paramahansa Sri Ramakrishna, when one,
Hmm.
very learned person came to him and said that, after years of sadhana,
Sadhana.
I am able to walk on the river and come
River,
and
yeah.
meet you. He said that,
Yeah.
what big deal? No big deal. After 14,
You
15 years of sadhana, you have just learned uh, going over the
learn what
water,
a
which a
boatman can give
boatman can
you
in
for
one
a few
penny
paisa. Yeah.
can give you the ride in one penny. So why do
Right,
pursue
right,
those things? So I think this is some of the things I think we all should keep in mind, because it's very natural to
right,
get attracted, right?
right,
To magic and miracles, because we also as human beings want shortcuts in life, right? Based on whatever complexes are on top of us. So that's why it is important to keep this in mind.
right.
Now,
On that
another
context, I
important
remember
question.
one more anecdote.
Sure.
Like, if you permit
Hmm.
me, for 1 minute, yeah. So, see
Yeah,
that
yeah,
context.
absolutely.
Thakur also, during Thakur's time, Thakur had actually foreseen this, that human beings are becoming more and more self-centered and selfish, and they're not able to easily share with others. I would say, if you have gained something or achieved something in life, if that cannot be used to help others, then again the significance of that is very low. A similar person had come to C.C. Thakur, and his claim to Siddhi or realization was also similar, that he had done intense sadhana to be able to walk on water body. Then Thakur looked at him and
Oh,
asked
okay,
him,
similar thing.
similar, very similar, exactly similar. He also came from the Himalayas. Then Thakur asked him, okay, can you take another person with you as you walk? Then he got to say, no, that I can't. And then he pointed to a child sitting there. Can you at least take that child as you walk? Then he looked at the child and said, no, that also I can't. He can at best take his kamandulu and lathi and then walk, or maybe that is also heavy. Thakur said, then what is the use of this achievement that you have got? If case there is a sudden problem strikes, you are not able to even use your achievement to help others an iota. So what is the point of such an achievement? Dr. Thakur asked him. So this is like so everything that we do, whether
Good
for
that
my
you added
yeah,
it.
very good. If we cannot share that with others, if we
Absolutely.
cannot help with that achievement, with that ability with to others, then it is of little significance in the current society. Yeah.
And that is what satsang is all about, right? Wherein we are talking about, Thakur said that this is a men making institution, men making factory, because the intent here is to help human beings, develop their true potential. And that is what is men
Correct.
making institution. And that is where, and that again, if you remember the message which I talked about, true mastery, awakening the true mastery. So all
Right.
of us, like say people say, right? It said that God created us in His or her own image, right? So once we are able to achieve that godliness inside us, I think that is where we develop our true potential, and that is what the spiritual masters, the true gurus, help us on. Well, moving on to the last question, and then we will go to the rapid fire round, Mr. Patra. Uh, these days, right, there is a huge amount of content on the social media,
Hmm.
right, and I can very well read those content, look at the videos and follow a prescribed path by a spiritual master. But then we also have a concept of initiation. So my question to you is that can I follow a guru without getting initiated? And if I just follow certain prescribed, and I'm obviously very honestly, if I try to follow a prescribed path by just going through certain social media content, reading books, is it enough? Your thoughts on it? And once
Okay. So,
once
so
we
I'll
cover
take,
this question, we will
so I'll
go
take like
very
two.
quickly to the rapid fire.
I'll take it from two aspects. Like number one, just mere presence of volumes of information does not guarantee that people will choose the right things and continuously advance. So nowadays this word AI, there is a hype around that artificial intelligence and machine learning before that, right? When we teach these machines, which is essentially some algorithms, we have to feed data. If we have all realized that if you are creating training models, if the data is not clean, then the models are also not good. It impacts the decisions later. Now, if the data is biased, then again the training sort of biases towards that. So you can start with a very clean set of data, make things learn, but if you keep on pumping bad data to it, even the efficacy of the clean data initially gets lost over time. So see that strongly bias can set in. If you look at the social media, who will guarantee or who guarantees that everybody else who is writing in that is writing the right thing? Maybe 10 people are really wise, they wrote the right answers, but there are 10 others or 100 others out there who have less knowledge and they write incorrect answers. If you try to just take the average is weakening with time than increasing. So yes, so mere presence of information is not going to be helpful unless we know how to apply the right filters. And who will help us apply the right filters? Only when we know this is like more trustworthy. Like in this data cleansing models, we say this is more reliable data, this is more trustworthy data. We apply some filters to remove some outliers and heavily biasing incorrectly data and all that, so that we maintain a balance and the quality of the data is good. Similarly, if we are doing all these things with normal data and information flow and all, a human mind consists of, see, 86 billion neurons, they say now. And how many neurons a child is born with? Several thousand. But a child is growing like 2500 neurons every second. So think about it. A child is born with few neurons, and by the time the child is 6 years old, pretty much all 86 billion neurons are created. So within a span of 6 years, at the rate of anywhere between 2,500 to 7,500 neurons get created every second. So to a small child, you are talking, and in that small brief talk of a few minutes, you have influenced the child in many ways. That is where the learning is the maximum. So this early childhood is so important. Thakur would say the you actually create a human being in the first 5 6 years. In his Bengali couplet, he says, in that very tender young age itself, the kind of personality you induce in a human child, that defines his personality. So be
Entire
cautious
life
about
follows that.
for the whole life follows that, right? So without accepting a guru, what happens is that discipline does not set in. Then we do not remain steady in one goal. You see, I can appreciate a lot of teachings and all that. And today, this morning, before the beginning, we're telling you that I joined a course for a degree. Now, why so? Because even though I've been working in this field, I have been dabbling in some areas or the other. Somewhere I have gone deep, and some of the areas I might have left out. But by joining a course, there is a set syllabus. I will have to follow a track and then complete projects and assignments and all, and eventually, based on an examination, I get a degree. Right? If I was. So similarly in life, if you want to remain steady with anything that you wish to do, if I want to lose my weight, I have to go to gym and wishfully have an instructor who will guide with me, work with me, coach me, mentor me, and then ensure that I lose my weight steadily over time. If I don't show in a gym for a day or two, he'll come to my house, pull me up and say, why do you need to come? So that guidance, those rules, that if needed, that shading is all important. So if I want to make my life personal, it's such a high goal and such a long journey, I need definitely a guru in my life who will act as that mentor, that guide. I should be able to converse with the guru. I should be able to listen to his commands. I should be able to take his abuses and rebukes. If I do mistake and falter, if he does not correct me, then how will I improve? And so even if his punishments should be taken with a sense of glee and heart, and that is how a student will become better. If the student does not feel elated at the mere command or instructions of the guru, the mere thought of the guru, then that bonding has not deepened deep enough. So without a guru, like we can make some advances, yes, here and there. So I gave this example of hiking. Anybody here, there's a small mountain here called Mount Shasta. It's a few 10,000 feet. I mean, there is another smaller one here, very close by, 5 6 miles from here. Even to go there, the first you want to go hiking, first you have to join a class and then listen to the instructor there. You want to go kayaking, join a class, listen to the basic instructions of the instructor there. Put on your life jacket, do this,
Absolutely.
learn
Unless
this.
it is very easy to get lost, right? And there's so much of
Yeah,
content around. And and we will go on, and generally what happens is that I've seen people, many of my friends, right, looking at one video, then immediately switching to another, trying to connect the dots, and getting lost in the process, right? Because
yeah,
it's not easy. it's
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 not
it's
easy.
it's, it's about
And
our life, it's about our growth. uh,
right.
had it
And
been
content, like even if we
so
don't
easy.
choose, the software now will keep feeding incessantly one of the random random videos to you. This is not going to make you progress in
I
one, but just randomized. Yeah. So we don't want to get
Absolutely.
randomized in
And we
life.
will
We
end
need
up
one
getting
and then adhere
confused.
to it.
We will end up. And many people, actually, when we talk about mental well being, also, we are seeing, the mental well being also sometimes getting affected just because, a mentor is not there and people are just consuming randomly content here and there. Okay,
That is very
now
correct.
very quickly, let me move to the rapid fire round. I'm just keeping a constant watch on the time as well. So the rapid fire round, Mr. Patra, I would expect questions, answers, maybe just a one liner or two. We'll go very fast, and then see. I know how it goes.
We'll
So
try.
my first question to you, Mr. Patra, is any spiritual master whom you greatly revere, apart from your own guru, Sri Sri Thakur and Gulchandra?
I revere many, but I particularly have enjoyed the literature from Sri Aurobindo and Swami Vivekananda.
Okay,
I really love their literature. Yeah. Swami Vivekananda particularly because he speaks of his guru in all his literature. Vivekananda
absolutely,
Sahitya. That
absolutely.
actually puts that
And
on
that
the
is
very
again
higher
a sign, right?
Sadhya Sadhya Sadhya.
Absolutely. Thank you. Swami Vivekananda and Rishi Aravinda has inspired many. across the subcontinent and across the entire globe. Now, question to you: do you struggle to follow any particular teaching of your guru?
Oh, oh yes. So let me think. Like, well, I know we've been in satsangis who tried to do. So one, even from the Holy Satyanusaran book, like there are so many teachings that I try to follow as much as possible. So one of the Thakur says is, if um, if you are um, if you are remorseful of a mistake you have done, then don't repeat that. Now, I've seen like there are some mistakes that I do, like that of laziness and all. For some time, I'm okay with that, but then again, I become a little complacent and lax and get into that laziness. So it needs a very strong willpower to overcome that completely. So that's
Oh, I
one.
can I can relate to you, Mr. Patra. It was sometime like we all wake up very early, right, in the morning for our prayers and meditation, and then many times,
Yeah,
especially when the summer vacation of my kid goes, so I will wake up, do my morning meditation
yeah.
and prayer, and after that again go back to bed
That one
sometimes,
is
right?
sleeping.
Oh, let me enjoy
And
sleep
then
another hour, right?
yeah.
So because the schools are
And
not
then
there, and I
one
every
more
day
thing
I
I will say is like,
sometimes it's
yeah,
a struggle.
one more input I would definitely say, like, I try to do important things in time. Avoiding doing procrastinating is not really good, and Thakur has vehemently opposed procrastination, right? But I have seen that there are certain things, especially when it comes to my personal work and all, I prioritize other work over that. Oh, I have to attend to that pipe is leaking.
Oh
It's
my
okay.
God, I'm so much able to relate to what you are saying today, Mr. Patra.
Procrastination, yeah. So stitch in time solution. So that, but yeah, but now that I speak to you, I will try to do less procrastination with the time. Yeah, okay.
And in my home, right, I see a very prominent example in the form of my husband. And I see, and again, I am not able to do it that well. I mean, whenever some problem happens, immediately at that point only he will fix it. Okay, in
Yeah,
whatever condition he is, he will do that work. And I will keep on telling you, I mean, this is the teaching of Srishi Thakur, that you are doing, but somehow I sometimes falter on this. Okay, so I'm able to relate to the examples you are seeing. Okay, the
and
next
one more.
question: you live in
Thakur says, speak openly, but always with a sweet tongue. Now, always with a sweet tongue is something like sometimes I get irritated because of like some pestering colleagues or some remarks, even in the domestic life and all. So repeated mistakes when people do, I tend I tend to lose my cool there. So I think like with some practice and with Thakur's instruction to always speak sweet, we need to practice that
absolutely.
and become better at that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's somehow I am fortunately able to practice with His grace. Okay, so you live in the United States. What is the greatest challenge you face when talking about Sri Sri Thakur or the need of a spiritual master, initiation, satsang, all these to people around, and considering that it's a very different culture altogether.
Right, right. So, well, even though we stay in the US, we mostly stay in Indian, I mean, people of Indian origin, that rich community. And even in that community, when you try to speak to Sisi Thakur, we say most people who have come here, they have come here with more material goals than spiritual goals. And somehow the culture here, the environment impacts your thought patterns and all that. People tend to become a little more self-centered here than back in the country, but that is slowly breaking. I see that in last 7 years that we have been here, 8 years that we have been here, we have slowly broken that. I am able to easily reach out to strangers like the way I could do in India. Like one remark, establish, give a smile, start a conversation, break the ice, and so on. But the other, then comes the next part is to people who are really not Indian and all that. They don't relate to our culture. Their thinking, their viewpoint, their perspective of looking at things is generally different from back there in India. Well, everybody has need here. If you can find the right person and use the right words, you can reach out to them. But somewhere, uh, earning money, amassing wealth, growing materially is considered a big part of success here. That whole attitude is like that.
Sure.
People here like they are going to old age homes. The cost of living is very high. They have to earn enough and keep enough for themselves, not pass it on to others.
So the
People here
material
don't.
bent of mind is the greatest challenge.
Expensive. Yeah, but they have to worry about themselves. So that is one part. And the family bonding is of a different kind here. They want to make children independent and responsible from young age, which is good. We personally like that. But at the same time, when kids turn about 16, 18 years of age, They're supposed to leave their family and go out. If they continue to live with their parents, there is an intense peer pressure that mounts on them. What? You're still staying with your parents. You're a university man, and you're still staying with your parents. That is taken as a taboo. So there are some cultural aspects that we have to face
Sure.
with
Understand.
relationships and all
Understand.
that. Different kinds of issues here that we don't see that much in India. Yeah.
Moving fast. Last question of today's session. Again, expecting a very brief one-line, two-line answer from you. God or Guru? Where is the link? Is one over the other?
So see, by that God which is not seen, not known, not interactable, that omniscient God, that God is a great concept. But such a concept of God will not help me improve my character on its own. It's the Guru who can make me really understand that God and make me elevate towards that God. So, in my opinion, the importance or significance of a Guru in one human being's life is way higher than that of mere God. It is through Guru we will actually realize what is God or godly versus what is not. And be that. Maybe everybody is a form of God and can become God and all that. But without Guru, that itself cannot be achieved. Sant Kabir said, Guru Govind dono khade, kake lagu
दो
paye,
खरे
baliharo
काक लगा पार
Hamar diyo bataye.
बलिहारी
So,
गुरु अपने
Guru
गोविंद दियो बताए. Absolutely.
Govind diyo
Which
bataye.
means,
So,
for the people, who don't understand this language, is that, there is a very famous doha or a couplet by a very famous revered saint in India, Kabir, who says that when, say, God and Guru, together they're standing in front of a seeker. So the seeker is in a dilemma. Whom should I bow down at first?
first.
Whom should we bow down? Then God Himself, right, referred to here as Govind, is instructing the disciple that it is first, it is your Guru whom you should bow down and, offer your obeisance or respect before you turn to me. So that clearly explains
Yeah.
and
So
helps
that
us in
couplet
this
has
predicament
a,
or
it has
new
Alangan, so
context.
it has like, it has got great meanings. Like this is an adornment of language. This is, if you ask God, He will say, bow down to Guru. And then if you ask Guru, He will actually let you know that other person is God. Otherwise, you won't know whether it's a God or an imposter. Something like
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
This is, and maybe we can, talk a little more in another session on
Yeah.
the further deep dive on this particular God Guru linkage. We did cover it in one of our sessions, but it's a very, very amazing and interesting topic, right? Which we can really go to. I think, thank you. In the interest of time, I think we would like to wind up the session today. Thanks to you, Mr. Patra, for being with us. I definitely learned, and I'm sure my audience as well today learned a lot from you. And one very good thing about when I do these conversations with you, and even the last one, it's a very free flowing, and throughout the session, and my audience will definitely agree with me, you have always this pleasant smile, radiating a lot of positive energy around, and which makes me very, very comfortable, and it's a very pleasant atmosphere all around as I keep on discussing with you. So I think that is
So
very unique,
likewise,
and I thought I
I
should
learned a lot.
call
Likewise, I learned a
call
lot.
call
Thank you very much
call
for
that out.
diffusing knowledge. Yeah.
So as I
Thank you.
wind up the session today, one again another message from our Guru Sri Thakur I would like to uh, talk about or call out, and again from the holy book Satyanusaran. See, many times, right, when we are in the quest of a guru, many of us go with a lot of pride. Okay, I want to test somebody, find out whether he is right, whether he is wrong. While we have to be cautious, careful, based on whatever we you know the examples which we talked about today, but at the same time it is very important to be full of love, be humble as we are in this quest of finding a guru. So I will quote Sri Thakur, where he says, if you go with pride to examine a true master, a loving sage or saint, you will only see yourself in him and will come away deceived. The test is to feel blessed in the grace of a true master by approaching him without prejudice or preconception, with a loving heart, humility, and as little pride as possible. He can never be tested on the touchstone of pride, but as if torn by the horns of a ram, he can be rent into pieces by real humility. Another thing, many times we get attracted by how the person appears, right? Whether he is wearing long white robes or saffron robes and stuff like that. So Sissy Thakur again says, as the sparkle of a diamond which remains in coal and dirt can only be seen after thorough cleansing, so also he who lives in this society as an ordinary man, look at the word ordinary. Ordinary man can illuminate the world with a sparkle only by the washings of love. The lover alone can know him. So keep the company of lovers and worshippers of existence. He must manifest himself. So I would end on this note. Have that love in your heart, humility, and that quest. And best wishes to all of you who are in this journey of finding a spiritual master. All the best, and I'm sure once you get attached to the right master, it's only more life, more growth, more joy, more happiness as you move forward. Thank you. Signing off again. Thanks to you, Mr. Patra, and definitely we'll come back again with more sessions like this in upcoming months. Thank you and namaskar.
Namaste. Thank you.